Okay, hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome back to another video. I'm shooting in my truck out of necessity. Oh, sometimes just minor life things and booktube don't mesh up. I'm sure all of you are aware that there are times when just getting that video shot out, edited, is just more than you can accomplish during the course of the week. This is actually one of the reasons why I try to shoot all my videos over the weekend, and then I just schedule them. But I didn't do that this week. I had planned to do a very different video for today, but I wanted to stick with my schedule, which is to put out a video every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And what I have here is a tag video. This is the New Year 2020 tag created by Triumphal Reads. I was tagged after I begged him by Steve Donoghue, and then I was tagged voluntarily by Jason over at Byways and Booklands. Thank you, gentlemen, for tagging me to do this tag and giving me a video to shoot that I can shoot in the car while I'm on my way to go eat dinner with my son. So you may know, if you're like, you watch my videos I shoot in car, the background is different. I'm not going the exact same place, and you'll probably get some idea of exactly how unattractive the greater southern Houston metropolitan area can be, because the weather here is ugly and I'm not going any place particularly interesting. Anyway, the 2020 New Year tag is what I'm going to do, and question one, or prompt one, says, how many books do you plan to read in 2020? I don't set book reading goals. I have a Goodreads page, but I don't really do anything on my Goodreads account. And I don't really worry about how many books I read. What I will say is that, generally speaking, I average 5 books a month. That's 60 books in the course of a year. I imagine I'll be right around 60 this year as well. I'm a slow reader. I don't necessarily push myself to read fast. But I do have a few more buddy reads scheduled this year already, and buddy reads help me read faster, because I'm reading with the idea of being able to talk to somebody about the books I've read, or about the book we're reading, sorry. Prompt 2 is to name 5 books that you meant to read last year and that you didn't get to. I can only think of 3. I'm sure there are more and I've forgotten some, but the 3 books that I definitely want to read this year that I didn't get to last year. Oh, I thought of a 4th one. The 4 books I definitely want to get to this year that I didn't get to last year are, one, Convenience Store Woman. I've been threatening to read that book for some time, and I think I'll be the last person on BookTube to read it. Fair enough. Similarly, I want to read Milkman by Anna Burns, which comes highly recommended by Sean the Book Maniac, among others. And I meant to get to that book in 2020. I didn't. Fortunately, I'm doing a buddy read of Milkman with Mark Jackson from Words Everywhere the last week of this month, so I'll get that one out of the way. 3, I want to read Women Talking by Miriam Taves. Again, a highly recommended, widely read book here on BookTube that, for whatever reason, just, never really stayed on my radar when I was making my TBRs or when I was buying my books. And then 4 would be a history book, a book covering American history from the late 60s up more or less to modern day, called Fault Lines. And one of the authors of that book is one of my favorite Twitter historians, whose last name is Cruz, and I just forgot his first name. A Twitter historian, by the way, is not somebody who writes the history of Twitter, but a historian on Twitter who tweets a lot. And I love Professor Cruz's Twitter battles with the historians out there. That's just fun for me, and he's a really good follow on Twitter, so I bought his book. Prompt number 3 is new genres wow, that you plan to read in 2020, or you plan to read more of in 2020. I think my Saturday hodgepodge from the beginning of this month, I pretty much announced that I was planning to do a lot more genre reading. I've already read a romance novel, something I had never done before. I definitely plan to read sci-fi next month. Next month I'm going to read Kindred by Octavia Butler, and so that'll be a sci-fi novel. I also plan to read experimental fiction, because Mark Nash encouraged me to read Ben Marcus's, is that the right name? This is not a novel, so I'm going to do that. That's experimental fiction. Leaving something out? I'm leaving a genre out. Oh, horror. I still have to come up with a horror novel that I want to read this month or this year. So I'm planning on doing quite a bit of genre fiction reading this month. I keep saying month. I mean this year. Also, then prompt number 4 is to name, 3 non-book reading goals you have, and these all just have to do with relaxing. My goal number 1 is I'm retiring from teaching this year. This is my 31st year, and I'm halfway through it, and 31 feels like enough for me in terms of teaching public high school as a public high school history teacher, and I've just got to get my paperwork in order and send in my letter of resignation, and I will officially be among the retired beginning in May of this year. So I'm looking forward to that. So retirement, that's a goal. That's definitely something I'm going to be working on, something I'm going to be experimenting with, seeing how that goes. I really can't wait for the first day of school in August to roll around next year when I don't have to go. That's something I'm really looking forward to a lot. So that's 1. 2, you may or may not know that I also have a YouTube fishing channel where I do a lot of bass fishing. Primarily I just fish for the bank, and I fish in ponds and things around here. I try out different kinds of fishing lures, and I just really like to fish, so I'm definitely going to do more fishing. And 3, I like to do wood carving. This is I think completely brand new information for booktubers. I have wood carving tools, and I like to do that. I haven't done it very often, but it's very relaxing in a way. It's kind of like, in a sense, I think kind of like crossword puzzles or Sudoku puzzles for other people. It's relaxing because you can do it, and you kind of take your mind off other things, but it's also kind of problem solving. So, I might put a picture of my very first carving over here if I get the guts to do so. But I want to do more of that, and I should have plenty of time for that. I didn't know if writing counted as a book thing, but I plan on getting back to work on the book of nonfiction that I kind of really got serious and went back to do more writing on over the summer, and I made some videos, some writing vlog videos about that. Prompt number 5 is a book that's been on your shelf for a long time that you want to get around to reading in 2020. And unfortunately, there are a lot of books on my shelf that have been there for a long time, but a book on my shelf that I want to get around to reading that's been there a long time is a narrower group. And so I bought an omnibus collection of the Studs Lonergan trilogy by William T. Farrell, and I want to at least read the first volume of that, which I think is either Young Lonergan or Studs Lonergan or something like that. I want to read that. That was kind of when I was doing my master's degree and doing research on the person I ended up writing a book about, Thomas Boyd. I really got into kind of proletariat, socialist-y kind of fiction, and Farrell's name came up in that, and so I bought that omnibus a long time ago. Now that would be probably at least 20 years ago, and I've had it for a while, and it's about time I get around to reading it. And then prompt number 6, one word that you hope will describe the year 2020, and I'm gonna go with a smart alecky sounding word, I guess, and the word I want is, the word I hope we achieve in 2020 is rapprochement, which is essentially just a term that means an easing of tension and a resetting of the sides and an end to kind of division and bickering between and fighting and tension between the sides. At least that's what I think rapprochement means, and so that's what I'm hoping for in 2020. And I know those of us living in the United States and in Great Britain, at the very least, would like to see that happen politically. Prompt 7 is to tag people. You're tagged. I'm here in the car and I have a list of people. A lot of people have already done this. So I'm just going to say, if you haven't done this tag and you know me and I've ever tagged you before, or we've ever communicated before through BookTube, which is probably a lot of you, I'm tagging you to do the tag. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching. I look forward to your comments in the comment section below.